I'm Chip Townsend, and this is the Team Chip Podcast.
I'm not who I was 8 years ago, and physically, mentally, emotionally, just a different person in so many good ways.
And that can be challenging, but sometimes we have to fire clients.
And it has been a game changer. My days are long, but they're so good.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Team Chip Podcast. I am here today and excited to be with you. Man, it's been, we're coming out of the end of summer. I know you probably don't know what our season is, but it's been a busy time and crazy. But I'm here today with a very special guest I'm excited about. We're going to talk about something we kind of call the discipline formula, how to build unshakable willpower. And I have an example of that here in Miss Candace Renders, right? How are you, Miss Candace?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
I'm so good. I'm so good. I'm ready to get this going on. So, unshakable willpower. So you've been like, you started with this. How many years ago was it that you started with this training as a student?
8 years.
Hey, wow,
sir.
That's a long time. That's a long time. 8 years ago.
Yes, sir.
And in the process, you've had quite a journey, right?
Oh, it's been a journey. Yes, sir.
It's been a journey, right? Well, I was gonna kind of ask you here in just a minute about some of that journey to kind of build up to where we are today, but I am just crazy, super proud of you as a martial artist and a Team Chip team member, an instructor in our school, and you've been an up and coming leader for a long time, and just are accomplishing great things all the time.
Thank
and
you.
So, and that's why I wanted to bring you on. You've become a huge inspiration inside the school for a lot of our students. I would say, especially a lot of our ladies. And, when I look back historically, when I was a kid, I hate to say it, but in the old days, there weren't a lot of ladies that trained in our school. And I think probably across martial arts as a whole. I started in 1985, and we sparred, and it was just kind of beat down every day and a different culture. So we've really worked hard to be intentional about building a more empowering culture. But anyway, with that said, when Glen Ann came along kind of further back and we took over the school, she really became a huge part of the growth of kind of a following of ladies in our program. So anyway, with that said, you have come along and are stepping into that legacy and adding to it every day, and we love it. So wanted to bring you in and chat with you a little bit. So tell me, what got you started?
So Jacob, my son, who's now 16, started, and 6 months after he started, Everly started. She was 5 at the time. She's now 13.
Right.
And I remember we were at home one evening, and I was helping him stretch. And I'm like, all right, Jacob, come on, you got to get your stretching down. And he's like, Mom, you just don't understand how hard it is. And I said, you're right, I don't. And he said, well, maybe if you got on the mat, would know. And I was like, I don't know if I can work that in my schedule, and being the mom and doing, all the things and making that excuse of not being able to, etch out an hour for myself became less and less when my kids were like, Mom, why don't you just do it? Why don't you just do it? So Carson and I had this long conversation about it, and we were like, you know what? Let's just do it. We had done a mom's on the mat. We had done dad's on the mat, and just, there were some ladies on the mat. Joy Hoyle was on there. And I remember you would kind of walk by me and kind of push on me a little bit and be like, hey, when am I going to see you out there?
I pushed nicely. It wasn't a hard push. It was just, we call that a nudge.
A nudge. Okay. A chip nudge. Okay.
There you go.
So we got on the mat, and it has been a journey.
Man, there's so many things in there that I want to touch on. I'll try not to get this, maybe let's just get too long, but how old was Jacob at that time?
Jacob was 7.
7? That's what I was thinking. So 7-year-old Jacob is going, but Mom, you just don't understand. You got to try. But you know what's cool about that is he was 100% right.
Absolutely.
And it's like the, kind of the backseat driver. You're back there driving like, do it, work hard. One of my favorite comments from parents when they start martial arts after their kids is, I love it and I have mixed feelings about it, but I really love it. It's kind of fun as they go, oh my gosh, I had no idea how hard my kid worked. I love that part. The part I struggle with is they will sometimes follow it up with, I'm never going to push them quite so hard. And I'm like, oh, the push is okay. The push is okay. But I love hearing them say that. But man, parents, if you're listening, take notes, jump on the mat with your kids. It can be life-changing. So anyway,
huge. Great. It was fun to go through the journey with the kids.
Right.
Jacob's not on the mat anymore, but he has excelled in his things that he's doing in high school because of his foundation at Team Chip.
Right.
Everly is now not off the mat, but she's kind of taken a step back, and she's excelling. And as a freshman going into high school and marching band, and it's because of the foundation of Team Chip and the things. So, but going through that journey with the four of us, watching our kids testing with my husband, just memories that we cherish and that we love, and we love talking about it and sharing. And do you remember when this happened? And do you remember this? And it's just a lot of fun.
I tell people all the time, especially parents of kind of I hate these labels, but like preteen and teenage groups that are sometimes will come in about, well, I don't have anything in common with my kids anymore. It's hard to have a conversation with them. And I hear those things periodically, and I'm like, get on the mat. It's a connecting point.
Absolutely.
It brings you something common that you can both enjoy and love, etc. Well, the podcast is about being disciplined, and discipline is definitely not about perfection, and it's not about punishment.
Right.
Discipline is doing the right thing when you need to. It's stepping in when things are hard, things like that. It's showing up. It's also trusting God. God's, I think, a big part of this journey. What do you think about that?
Oh, most definitely. Trusting in his plan. Absolutely.
And I think finding the good in the tough times, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
So challenging whenever you're going through a struggle, but you know there's a bigger plan and God has a mission for you, and there's a lesson here. There's a nugget, right?
Yes.
There's something I can get out of this.
Yes.
So as you've moved forward through the martial arts, I'm just going to ask you a simple question. Like, can you name maybe 2 or 3 things that you feel like it's done for you? What are things where it's added to your life?
Confidence. I feel so much more confident in who I am as a person.
Right.
Even Carson has commented, you walk different.
Right.
You treat people a little bit different. Just your confidence. My physical well-being.
Right.
Huge difference.
Right.
I'm not who I was 8 years ago.
Right.
And physically, mentally, emotionally, just a different person in so many good ways. Not that I was a bad person before.
No, of course not.
But growth, maturity in a lot of different ways. I look back at the 38-year-old Candace and was like, I was 38. I should have been. And I look back and I'm like, man, I was a not very smart, very immature 38-year-old. I feel like I've come a long ways because of the foundation of martial arts and what Team Chip has poured into me with leadership and encouragement and unwavering support and all those things. And those are the 2 big ones that stick out.
Awesome. Confidence. It's funny. You're saying Carson said you deal with people differently. And, I think it's interesting. I have kind of mixed feelings, but Jordan Peterson is kind of a leader in the world of psychology and stuff. And, one of the things he kind of talks about is, for a man to be a man, you have to be really powerful and strong. That way you have something to control and you have a reason to be respectful and humble and all these things, right? It kind of makes sense. And I agree with that. But it's interesting as a lady, as you grow in confidence, it impacts the way you interact with other people because of the way you carry yourself and make eye contact and the way you speak up to people, things like that. So
yes, sir.
Can you speak to just a little bit how the confidence that you feel like you've gained has helped you in other relationships?
So I'm a hairstylist, been a
Right.
hairstylist going on 28 years.
Right.
Always felt like I had a pretty good relationship with my clients, but I feel like that part of me has grown a lot, and that I used to let people come in, and when they would come in and sit in my chair, there were some things that I wouldn't control. I wasn't confident to be like,
Right.
let's not talk about that. Let's not have that conversation. Gossip and things. And
Right.
now I'm confident in saying, hey, let's use this time to, talk about other things. Let's
Right.
be positive. I think that has really helped me in that business and weeding out, the people that are negative influence in my life, and putting up the boundary of it's okay to say no to those people and have more positive influence in my life. Having those, you look at your life and who you surround yourself with, those top 5 people, and that has been huge. I read that a while back and I was like, who am I surrounding myself with? So being able to control that part and having the confidence of saying no, it's okay to say no. It doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means that,
100%.
we're not meant to, have that kind of relationship,
Absolutely.
So that has helped me on that business side. It's also helped with my family.
Right.
I'm like family as an extended family, siblings and stuff.
Right.
It's helped a huge amount. I've always been kind of I have 3 siblings, and growing up, they were the athletes. They were the strong ones. I was the weakling, is what my mom, she was like, you're just my weak little girl. Not anymore. I go in and I'm like, come on, brothers and sister. And, I'm more confident around my family.
Absolutely.
And I'm okay having, more in-depth conversations because I'm confident with myself.
I love that. I love that so much. And, that's like a dream come true for us because, you look at a martial arts school and common sense says, oh, they teach fighting. And inevitably at the end of the day, I hope that every student that we have an impact on and we teach something to has the ability to defend themselves when that time comes. But man, it's things like this that I think are, they're just as big, if not bigger sometimes, the impact on life. And I love hearing this come back. And I hope people are paying attention to this. It's so, again, just so powerful. It's impacted your own small business. It's impacted relationships with family, but generally in a good way. And I think I do want to speak to you, we're talking about clients maybe getting into gossip and things that you're like, hey, gossip is poison. It's not a good thing for us. And that can be challenging, but sometimes we have to fire clients, right?
Yes.
And I know we've had a few conversations about that where, like, oh, I've got a tough situation and, but we have two. And the old cliche is it just takes one worm to ruin the whole barrel, right?
Yes.
And sometimes you have to trim, for lack of better words, the worm out and let it go, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so, man, that is so powerful. So I love hearing that. So as you've come up and you've already kind of alluded to a lot of personal growth, what kind of failures and struggles have you had in that process, right?
Oh, so many. And I don't want to just say there's just been so many failures and it's just been so hard. It has been hard. It has been challenging. But if I was scared of failing, then I wouldn't know what it felt like to succeed.
Awesome.
And that has been huge for me.
Right.
For a long time, I would not put myself in a position where I felt like I was going to fail or be uncomfortable because of that fear.
Right.
Well, that's just part of life. We have to face failure head on.
Right.
So that way we can learn from it, grow from it, become resilient, and we rise up above it. It's that perseverance. Though I may be knocked down, I will rise again. We fall off a bicycle. We don't stop riding the bicycle. We get back on it.
Wait, you didn't sell your bike when you fell off?
No, sir.
Man, I called mom. I ran to mom and said, can we garage sell this thing? No, I'm just kidding. It's so funny you brought that up because I've had kids in class thousands of times probably, take a little bit of a hit, bone, fall down, whatever, and they're teary-eyed. And I've asked this literal question so many times, like, hey, buddy, have you ever fallen off your bike before? And they look at you and they go, well, yes. And it's like, oh, you have. Let me guess. You asked your mom to sell it the next day, right? And they're like, what? And I'm like, you mean you got back on it and rode it again? Well, yes. And I'm like, so you're going to get back up and ride this bike again, right? That was awesome that you brought that up because that's been a fun, distracting conversation sometimes for that kid that's a little bit like think they're hurt, but they're not and they're scared. And hey, did you fall off your bike? Yes. You sold it, right? What? No. Like, oh, you mean you rode it again? It's okay to get hurt sometimes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And a lot of it was, and this is something I've really been challenged with and growing from, is comparing myself. Comparing myself to other people But I don't do that anymore. I'm like, I am who I am.
Right.
My body's going to do what it's going to do.
Right.
I was 38 when I started this. I am, my body's maturing and changing, and I've got to just pivot and adjust with that.
Right.
And so looking back, having conversations with Mr. Manny, who was my private instructor
Right.
for 2 years, and, tears falling down my face, and I can't do this. And he was like, why?
Why? Right.
Why can't you? We're going to get through this. We're going to overcome this. And so as these women are coming to me and they're like, I'm really struggling with this. And I've told them, you're going to kick 1,000 roundhouses before the first one feels right. And then it's going to be like, that was it. That's how it should feel. You're going to have to challenge yourself, especially as you mature with jumping. Get a jump rope and start jump roping. If we're afraid of failing, we're never going to know what it feels like to succeed. And that's, for me, that's huge. I'm okay facing challenges now, and I'm okay knowing I'm probably going to fail, but I've just got to knock the dust off and get back up and just keep going.
Absolutely. So you said something a while ago that I wanted to hit on. You said, your body's just going to do what your body's going to do. Something that, in your 8-year journey so far, you've done amazing. And you've really changed yourself physically and mentally in a lot of ways. And I don't want this to sound arrogant, like, we did that, but like you've put in the work, you've been disciplined, you've shown up and done these things. And recently you've kind of doubled down on the body will do what it wants to do. And you've disciplined yourself on some diet and some things. So talked about that a little bit. Like, you made some choices and said, okay, I'm done. I'm going to kind of get control of this because you struggled, if it's okay to say, kind of struggled with weight some when you first started, and you really, really improved that over several years. And then recently you kind of took another step and said, hey, I'm stepping into this hard again. So talk about that a little bit real quick.
So I don't really know what light went off in my head to make that decision. I just woke up one day and said, no, I'm not doing enough. I need to do more.
Right.
And so I made a decision, and I'm like, I am sticking to this. And I got Carson on board with it.
Nice.
And I'm like, I need your support with this. I need you not to, when I'm having a rough day, bring me peanut M&Ms, which are my favorite.
Right.
I need you to support me in this. Nice. On my hard days, I need you to hold me accountable. And then I got an outside accountability buddy, which is you. And I do weigh-ins. I check in with you on my weigh-in days and stuff. But I just, as I'm getting closer to 50, I look at like, and this is something that you've taught me is, well, my family suffered with this. So, I'm probably going to, no, absolutely not. If I look at my family history, I should be in a much worse position than I am right now.
Right.
My mom was very, very sick my whole life, and she passed away 2 years ago, way too young, but she just didn't take care of herself.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want my kids to see that. I want to enjoy my kids. I want to enjoy my grandkids. And so I've been doing the things, but then I had to be like, okay, this isn't enough. What do I need to do? So I get up every morning and I either walk or jog 3 to 4 miles. Then I get in my driveway. I do 20 lunges, 30 squats, and I'm up to 35 push-ups.
Nice.
And I stretch every morning. And if I don't get it done in the morning, like yesterday, I was like, I just need a little bit more sleep. I got to team chip an hour before classes started, and I got it done.
Nice.
And I am keeping track of it. Carson's holding it. He's like, hey, how are you doing on your push-ups?
Nice.
So for August, I said, I'm a goal person and I'm a numbers person. So I'm like, all right, for the month of August, I'm going to do 1,000 push-ups, which means I have to do a minimum of 33 a day. I'm doing 35 a day right now, just in case I have a day where something's going on. But that's not an excuse. I can etch out an hour for myself in the morning to get up, get my dog, put him on a leash, go for a walk, watch the sun come up, have my time with Jesus, pray, think about my day. And it has been a game changer. My days are long, but they're so good. My mind is more clear. Emotionally, I'm better. I just feel this sense of like, okay, here we go. Here's the next thing. I've been kind of stagnant for a while, and I needed that next thing to challenge me and to be like, okay, what's the next thing? And man, what a difference. It's been 3 months of me doing this,
Right. And
huge difference.
it shows in your presence. It shows in your attitude. Not that it was ever bad. But just even brighter now than what it was, prior to 3 months ago. I just think it's amazing because you took some steps, and that's not particularly what this episode is about, but you got an accountability partner. First and foremost, you got the most important one. You got your other half, which is Carson, on board. And you said something, sometimes when you're telling him, hey, I'm having a rough day, and he brings you something special, it was peanut M&Ms or whatever that is. But the point is he's doing what he's trying to help, right? Yes. And sometimes in our try to help, it can have negative consequences, right? So, because Carson's an amazing man, but by sitting down with him and saying, hey, let's make an adjustment here. Still want your help, still want you on board, but I think that's so powerful. You made a plan. You made a plan. You set goals. You kind of invited me as an outside accountability partner. So you'll shoot me a message pretty consistently. Hey, did a weigh-in today, doing this, doing that. And I try very hard to be supportive of that. And I love that because we all have to have some sort of accountability. And I think that's awesome. And, but man, I was just sitting here listening to you talk about that. You made a plan. You got it publicly accountable. You discipline yourself to doing the work every day. I mean, it's almost cliche, just the steps that we take. If everyone did that, imagine how much, they could improve over time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Powerful thing.
It is. And I have another, I have a friend and she's on the map, Miss April, and she texts me when I posted my July totals on social media. She texts me and she was like, hey, I want to join in on this. I saw you did this many push-ups. And then she went, oh no, I read that wrong. You actually did 810 push-ups. And I'm like, do it with me. Let's set a goal of 1,000. So we're checking in with each other on doing 1,000 push-ups. Something that sounds, it's 1,000 push-ups in 31 days. Well, if you're not used to doing push-ups, it can be challenging. But it's been good to have her also just on that part of it. So just accountability and encouragement, unwavering support, which are all things that I knew very little about until I started this martial arts journey. I didn't truly know what that was all about, and just having the to overcome the things and make a plan and do the things. So I love this. Is why I wanted to talk to you about this, because it's so impactful and it's so timely, I think, for people to hear. So share with us a little bit, maybe a tough season you went through in this journey at some point that, and how did you kind of deal with that? We've already said it, but when bad things happen, it's all part of God's plan. Absolutely.
And even though it stinks in the moment, there's usually something good happening there. I mean, kind of talk about that a little bit. What's a tough time you went through?
So, I was kind of on the fence on, there's been a couple of tough seasons, super ones that stand out, but the one that stands out the most is I started my journey on March 20th of 2017 is when I started. And I earned my yellow belt, and I was so excited. And I remember who handed me my yellow belt. It was Andy Brewer, and just a phenomenal martial artist. And that May, I got a phone call that my granny was in the hospital in Fort Worth, and I literally left in the middle of a haircut to go to her. My grandmother on my mom's side was my person. Right. She was my best friend, my confidant, my spiritual advisor, one of the most amazing women to know. Right. And so I rushed over to her, and we found out shortly after, a few weeks after, that she had dementia, and it was a very fast acting dementia. And so that it all happened really fast. And so I stepped off the mat. Right. And I would drive anytime I could. I would drive to Weatherford to be with her. She didn't know who I was after a couple of months. So I would just go over there and hold her hand. I would talk to her. I would pray with her. I would sing to her. I would read scripture to her. And I was just there, whether she knew if it was me or not. Right. And so I just went. And she ended up passing away that October. And I remember you came to me one day when I was dropping the kids off, and you said, all right, when are you getting back on the mat? And I said, I'm not quite ready. And you said, I know you're going through a lot, but if you don't get back on the mat, you never will. You'll keep finding an excuse. Right. And I knew that emotionally I needed to get through the seasons. I needed to get through the holidays without her, because they were so special with her. And that January, after we opened back up after the holidays, I got back on the mat, and almost every class I cried.
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't realize in that moment was that was my therapy.
Mm-hmm.
That was, before I started martial arts, I was a smoker.
Right.
And when I started martial arts, I stopped smoking cold turkey. And when I was driving back and forth to go see my granny, those urges, I would have to pray them away, because it was like, stop and get a pack of cigarettes. And I'm like, no, I can't do that to myself. And the enemy, I was fighting that, and I was praying. I was like, Jesus, please give me the willpower to get through this. And I fought those urges, and it would have been easy to be like, but I'm going through a tough season. Jesus is there to hold our hand through those tough seasons as long as we reach out.
And he's way better than a cigarette.
Absolutely. And that January, when I started back on the mat, I'm sure that some of the younger instructors were like, man, there's something wrong with this woman. What are we doing wrong? Because I would literally just cry. And
remember.
It would just be for nothing, but I just was so emotional about losing her. I was like, what am I going to do now?
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't realize was that was my therapy.
Right.
That is what helped me get through my grief. When on those days when I wanted to give up, I would go in and I would sweat it out. On the days when I had urges to go buy a pack of cigarettes, I would go in and sweat it out. On the days when I felt like I can't go on without her, I would go in and sweat it out with my husband and my kids beside me, holding my hand, and Jesus right there carrying me. It's that footprints in the sand. Lord, why is it I only saw one set of footprints? He was carrying me. And so that was probably my toughest season, but I'm so thankful for that tough season because I learned so much about myself, grief, and how much this martial arts journey helped me with all of that. It wasn't the cure-all, but it was a big part of my grief process.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And that's kind of what I was digging for a little bit, because so many people with great intent start and something gets them off track and they never come back. And sometimes it's in the more advanced levels. And I get letters back from people, I can't believe I quit. I can't believe my parents let me quit, or I can't believe I'm so frustrated about that. I wish I had hung on. But anyway, I just wanted you to kind of share a little bit about maybe a tough time you went through. And, even though it was a tough time, there was gold there. You just had to kind of keep digging in that pile to find it, right?
Absolutely. That big pile. And because in the moment I couldn't see past that pile.
Right.
But I had people that were encouraging, that weren't being mean about it. You were never harsh. You were always like,
thank goodness, because based on some of your comments sometimes at the time, I thought I was. No, I'm just kidding.
No. And I probably, to me in the moment, I felt that way. I'm like, why is this man being so mean to me? Why do
So I'm thankful that those nudges helped. So if you're a martial arts instructor out there, nudge your people. It's okay. I tell our team sometimes, if you have the sensation you need to say something to someone, as long as it's positive, say it. A lot of times it might be just like, hey, cool shirt, or like your haircut today, or little Johnny's doing a great job today. Oh, nice work. Love that, sidekick. Boom, walk away. Make sure you're saying it, or it's a parent walking by that needs a nudge or encouragement. Yes. Just say it, right?
I'm so thankful you did.
I am too, because the relationship we've grown with you guys over time and your family, and the having you on the team, because at that time I didn't really envision that. And then eventually it was like you just kept progressing and improving and stepping up and leading and doing this and doing that. It's like, you're killing it. You should be an instructor. And then you're like, I think I might do that. And then it's like one thing led to the next. It seems like as a business owner and a martial arts instructor, you would always see the future of the student, right?
Yes.
But we don't. And so a good friend of mine, Hanshi Kovar, talks about spread those seeds liberally and often of success and, being on the team and things like that to encourage people, because you don't always know, right? And it's hard to read ahead of time. But great story. Kind of the concept again was discipline. So what you've done and the distance you've traveled has taken tons and tons of discipline, right?
Yes.
Hard work.
Lots of hard work.
Yep. And I want to encourage you guys, we use the word kind of unshakable willpower. I think you've developed that over time. You kind of have this like, you're solid, and when something is off, you're willing to go, nope, I'm not headed that direction, or I'm not going to get sidetracked, or I'm going to get back on track. And it's so important. But the other side of that I did want to share is failure is just part of the journey. And I love that you talked about that some.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. We're going to fail, right?
Absolutely. And again, I go back to, you can't be scared of failure.
Right.
Because you're never going to know what it feels like to succeed. You're never going to know what it feels like to become, to pick yourself back up and dust off and go, okay, I didn't get it today, but I'm going to come back tomorrow and try again and do it again, and not giving in and comparing and, I started with this person and you're on your own journey. We are all on our own journey. And we learned that with Jacob early on. He was a 3rd degree red belt for 3.5 years. And we watched all the other kids he started with earn their black belts, 1st degree black belts. But not once did we look at him and go, well, why aren't you doing that? It was, this is your journey.
Right.
It's the same with anybody. It's your journey. You're going to fail. You're not going to get every kick. You're going to have struggles. And if it comes naturally easy, then when you do hit that first struggle and you do hit that first failure of, I didn't quite get that kick. You know what? Remember the times when it was easy and let that help carry you
through the hard.
Because you got to hit those hard times. Absolutely. You're not going to be appreciative of your journey if you don't hit some hard times.
Absolutely.
And if you're not hitting hard times, that's okay. They're coming.
They're coming. Or maybe you need to challenge yourself because you're staying in that comfort zone too much, right?
So true. That's where I was. I was in a comfort zone and I was like, man, I'm just on cruise control. And then I looked at myself and was like, I don't like my cruise control. Let's speed this up a little bit.
Cruise control has me on the wrong highway right now. I get it.
Sir.
So I think it's important, discipline, failure doesn't define you.
No, sir.
Right? It's what we do with the failure.
Yes, sir.
Did we learn a lesson from it and make a change? Or are we defining insanity by doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result?
Yes.
Right? And that's not good. I think another thing that we kind of hit on today that's really powerful is God is at work at all times.
Every day, all day.
He's got a plan. He's got a direction. And no matter how hard it may seem or how tough it is, there's something in there for you, right? And there's value in you. And so even when it's hard, he's at work. He's got a plan. He may be taking you through a season, but that season preps you for the next. So keep that in mind. And discipline, it's built through action and sometimes surrendering what we want for what we need, right? And consistency.
Consistency is key.
Absolutely. Consistency is key, baby. All right, guys. Well, Candace, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Great
This
time.
was awesome.
Yeah, it was a great time. I love having the conversation. Love the nuggets you shared. Guys, I hope you got something out of that, whether you're a martial arts school owner, operator, instructor, or just a parent or a student. There is something in there for everybody, and let it be encouraging to you. Don't compare, right? And we talked about that. Your journey is yours. Yes. Don't compare yourself to Candace or myself or anybody else. Just every day, get up and look in the mirror and go, am I going to do better today, or am I better today than I was yesterday? Am I moving forward? Am I moving in the right direction, right? Biblically, we were called to excellence. Paul talks about it. If there's anything of excellence, put your mind on that, and I definitely watered that down. That's not a quote, but we're called to excellence. And so every day, am I just a step further today? Not compared to them, but just compared to me. All right. And so anyway, hope that works for you guys. And you guys had a great session here. Lots of good golden nuggets. Like it, share it, love it. We want to hear more. Send us a message and let us know what you would like to hear. And we'll see you on the next round. Thank you for tuning into the Team Chip Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget, subscribe, share, and or leave a review, because we need you. We appreciate you so much. And without you, we can't make this happen. Remember, consistency is the key to success. So go out there and never be outworked.